Marty Baron has been one of the leading newspaper editors of our time, but now he's retiring, which is why he's in conversation with Lesley Stahl of 60 Minutes.
Marty Baron, the editor of the Washington Post, and before that, the Boston Globe and the Miami Herald, is packing it in. Under his leadership, those papers won 17 Pulitzer Prizes for stories like the repatriation of the young Cuban boy Elian Gonzalez, lawbreaking by the NSA, and predator priests in Boston, as seen in the Oscar-winning film Spotlight.
We need to focus on the institution, not the individual priests.
Liev Schreiber played Baron.
We're going after the system.
You were made famous in that movie, Spotlight.
Right.
You're a hero.
My heroes are the people I work with.
You're embarrassed.
I'm embarrassed.
I
yes.
know, I'm embarrassed.
I realize how much, look, this is not a one-person show here.
When we visited Marty Baron at the Washington Post newsroom in February, it certainly looked like a one-person show.
I haven't seen another person outside of you in this building today. This is completely empty. This is COVID.
Absolutely. Everybody's been working from home. It's been that way pretty much since March 10th.
Even before COVID, there was a sterile look to the new modern newsroom.
The old newspaper offices had a lot of charm, history, dirt,
Yeah,
grease,
grunge.
grunge. My first newsrooms were Underwood manual typewriters, and we worked on that. And you could hear people working. A lot of the old characters you don't find them anymore.
You're not an old character?
Well, I am old, and I am a character, but I don't know that I'm an old character.
Marty's one of the great ones. And like
Since
all the
his
great
friends
ones,
and
he seems
colleagues couldn't celebrate the 66-year-old character's departure in person,
What you have accomplished over these last 8 years is extraordinary.
they toasted him in a farewell tape. What should Marty Baron do next? And we roasted him. You can't hang it up at 66. I mean, Marty, President Biden is 78. In Spotlight, Baron was humorless, but not in real life.
I'm deeply moved. I'm incredibly grateful. That was amazing.
Marty, why are you retiring?
Well, I'm 66. I've been in this business for 45 years. It's an exhausting profession. It's been particularly exhausting, let's say, over the last 4 to 6 years, and also just during the internet era, where you have to be on duty all of the time. It wears you down.
Wears you down more now that we have the digital age.
People expect to know information like right away.
You have to be first.
We like to be first, yes.
They're not first in digital subscriptions. That's the New York Times. But they are an impressive second with 3 million subscribers, more than 3 times as many as the paper had when Baron took over 8 years ago, a few months before Amazon founder Jeff Bezos bought the place.
What about Jeff Bezos? Is he the reason the Washington Post has increased its circulation to the extent it has?
Well, there's no question that Jeff Bezos has been instrumental in our turnaround. We needed fresh ideas, and he came in with fresh ideas.
And money.
And we'll talk about the money, but I think the
money wasn't the most important thing?
No, the money was not the most important thing in my
Wow.
view. The most important thing was a fundamental change in our strategy. Up till that point, we were focused on covering the region around Washington. And so when Jeff came, he said, this strategy that you have may have been fine in the past, but it's not fine today. And now we have the opportunity to become national and international because we don't have to distribute physical papers all over the place. We can do it digitally. Everybody anywhere in the world could read the Washington Post.
I didn't realize that when he bought the Washington Post, he already had a strategy. He'd studied this. He came to you with a plan.
There's no question. I mean, he studies, he does his research.
Over the last 15 years, over 2,000 newspapers in the U.S., that's 1 in 5, have gone out of business. Local news is having a hard time. It's become a news desert out there.
Is the answer for newspaper today to get a sugar daddy?
Not every newspaper is going to get a sugar daddy, so that's not an answer. There aren't enough
should
sugar
they
daddies.
Should
And-
they
and-
try? Should they go, courting?
Well, good for them. If they can find one. Hey, there was an old saying in this business is that you know what you call a billionaire who acquired a media organization? A millionaire.
To turn the Post into a national and international paper, Jeff Bezos made a $250 million investment, allowing for a near doubling of its newsroom staff, from 580 to more than 1,000, and adding internet-friendly graphics and clickable videos.
And the number one enabler of the Democrats is the fake news media, right?
Still, the biggest story in the last 4 years was a Washington story.
Yeah, they are truly an enemy of the people. The fake news, enemy of the people. They really are. They are so bad.
So let me ask what it's been like to walk around with emblazoned on your shirt, "You're an enemy of the people."
Well, the moment that Donald Trump said that was the moment that I realized that he would stop at nothing in his effort to destroy the free press in this country.
But as the editor-in-chief of the Washington Post, did you not feel an obligation to answer him, defend, tell the public, that's wrong, that's not true?
Absolutely, and we have done that. Thank you very much.
The usually soft-spoken Baron decided to raise his voice.
Democracy will not die in darkness with the Washington Post around. It was important for me, as personally, to get out and speak about the press, talk about our role, make clear what our mission is, and why we have a free press in this country, why the First Amendment exists.
Facts and truth are matters of life and death.
In a section of the newspaper called Fact Checker, the paper has documented all of the former president's false or misleading claims.
There have been over 30,000 false, misleading statements and some outright lies.
30,000.
30,000, yeah. Thank you and the entire Washington Post team for your tireless efforts to uphold the tenets of a free press.
Barron's office wall is plastered with thank you notes.
You know, in our office, we only put up the hate mail. This is true. So why do you put only the positive ones up?
Our staff has received a lot of threats, a lot of vile emails, and I think it's important that our staff recognize that there's a huge portion of the population that appreciates what they're doing.
What about you? Have you gotten threats, death threats?
I've gotten threats of various types, absolutely.
We had 4 years of Donald Trump, and we've had 1 year of the pandemic. In what ways do you think we are changed forever?
I think we're more realistic about the nature of our country. There's a greater sense of vulnerability. People never really thought about a pandemic before. In the same way, I think we're much more aware now of the vulnerability of our democratic system. I think we realize that the democracy can be threatened in ways that were unimaginable in the past.
And if we start thinking of ourselves as vulnerable, everything changes.
Yes.
Our very nature.
I think that's right, but maybe it's a good thing. Maybe we should realize that these institutions are more fragile than we thought they were, and maybe it's a wake-up call for us as a country.